It was early autumn in Seattle when my family uprooted everything for a new beginning. My wife had landed a position at a tech firm downtown, and we decided it was the perfect chance to escape the Midwest's endless winters. Our son Ethan was 11, a thoughtful boy with a passion for sketching landscapes and an endless stream of questions about the world that echoed my own childhood curiosity. As a graphic designer, I'd encouraged his artistic side, filling our old home with sketchbooks and colored pencils. The move was chaotic, but promising. We spent those initial days arranging furniture, wandering the rainy streets, and easing into a rhythm that felt like progress. Ethan started at a reputable elementary school in our suburb, one with glowing testimonials, dedicated staff, and a welcoming vibe. He was anxious at first, but soon warmed up. His favorite class was art, where he raved about his teacher, Miss Harlan. "She's amazing," he told us one evening during pizza night. "She suggested this comic series I've never seen before. It's not even in the library here." I grinned, appreciating educators who sparked creativity. Ethan mentioned her often, how she praised his drawings, offered tips on shading during lunch breaks, and even lent him supplies from her own collection. It seemed supportive, the kind of mentorship that could shape a young mind. Then, about 6 weeks in, Ms. Harlan messaged me through the school's parent portal. It was polite, glowing with compliments about Ethan's talent. She shared a curated list of graphic novels suited to his style, and noted she'd slipped him a rare edition from her personal stash since the school didn't stock it. I replied with gratitude, mentioning my design background and how I valued such dedication. We exchanged a couple more notes about inspiring artists for kids his age. But the messages evolved. They grew longer, delving into Ethan's artwork with profound analysis, linking his sketches to broader themes like isolation and wonder. She'd quote obscure illustrators not taught in class. It felt intense, more like a private apprenticeship than standard teaching. I casually asked Ethan about art class, and he beamed. "Ms. Harlan really understands my ideas," he said, with a reverence that lingered in my mind, like he'd found a confidant. Yet, a subtle unease crept in. One rainy afternoon, while sorting his school bag for laundry, I spotted a sleek sketch pad peeking from his books. It wasn't one we'd bought. Flipping through, I saw Ethan's doodles alongside annotations in elegant script. Suggestions not just on technique, but on his inner emotions, with phrases like, "This reveals a hidden strength. Guard it closely." And in one corner, "Some visions are meant for trusted eyes only. Let's keep this our secret." I lingered over it, heart quickening. The next day, I gently probed Ethan. He flushed but seemed untroubled. "Ms. Harlan gave it to me for private ideas," he explained. "It's special, and talking about it might spoil it." I contacted her that evening, expressing thanks but concern over the secrecy. Her response was swift. Apologies, assurances it was purely creative, and a vow to end the personal pad. Ethan grew subdued after that, avoiding art talk, retreating to his room with headphones on. I hesitated to push, fearing I'd sow unnecessary seeds of mistrust. But he began complaining of stomach aches, his energy waning, and his grades in math dipped. A few nights later, I caught him murmuring into his phone during a video call, something about not telling because it would change everything. I entered his room, and he startled, tears welling. He confessed Ms. Harlan had urged him to draw his deepest worries, family secrets he hadn't shared with us, insisting their connection was unique and fragile. If others knew, it would shatter. Rage surged through me. I marched to the school the following day, sketchpad in hand, demanding a meeting with the principal. I laid out the pattern: messages, loans, secrecy, the emotional pull. They listened politely, jotted notes, promised review. Days dragged. When I followed up, they claimed no wrongdoing. Ms. Harlan was esteemed, and protocols had been reinforced. But Ethan's restlessness grew. He'd wake sweating, sketching feverishly. Another parent reached out anonymously via email, sharing a parallel tale with her son. Private paths, intense praise, boundaries blurred. She'd reported it earlier, to no avail. I escalated to the district, pulling Ethan home temporarily. Weeks later, Miss Harlan quietly transferred schools. No announcement, no alerts. Ethan improved with counseling, now sharing his art freely. Vibrant, unburdened scenes of city life. Yet I ponder the what-ifs. If he'd stayed silent, if I'd dismissed my gut, what shadows might have deepened? I picked up a colorful smartwatch during a holiday promotion. One designed for kids, with sturdy straps and vibrant screens, was a treat for my son Lucas, who'd aced his first grade spelling bee. As a nurse working erratic shifts and raising him solo, I thought it could offer fun distractions while I charted notes or prepped meals. Not mindless games, but learning tools. I configured every safeguard, restricted apps, monitored usage, vetted features. I even demonstrated how to use it safely, emphasizing to alert me for anything odd. It appeared secure, routine. Lucas adored it, especially the adventure quests where he solved puzzles to unlock virtual worlds. He'd chatter to the watch, inventing tales for the characters. I saw it as harmless imagination, beaming at his inventiveness. Then, one bedtime, he mentioned Arya thought his dinosaur shirt was cool. Arya from the watch, he clarified casually. She likes green best. I chuckled uneasily, inquiring which app featured Arya. He tilted his head. She's not in an app, she just talks sometimes. I shrugged it off. Kids fabricate pals. Scanned the device, no matching characters. But Arya persisted. Over cereal. Arya says try the chocolate milk. At playtime, Arya wants me to build a taller tower. It wasn't playful, it was matter-of-fact, like echoes of real chats. One twilight, I overheard him giggling softly in the bathroom. Then a faint, tinny reply. I burst in. He sat on the rug, watch glowing on his wrist. She said your shift was long today, he relayed innocently. I unstrapped it, pulse racing. Screen blank, no active functions. Usage history clean, mic access denied. I factory reset it, handed it back warily, chiding my paranoia. Days later at the dinner table, he frowned. Why did Arya say you were sad last night? I hadn't mentioned my quiet weep after a tough shift. He'd been asleep, unless the watch had been nearby. I delved into research, scouring parent forums and tech security sites. Tales emerged of gadgets hijacked remotely, even with controls active. Stories mirrored, voices through speakers, cams activating covertly. One dad described his girl's smart doll repeating private convos. Dread knotted my gut. I stashed the watch in a locked box. Lucas wailed, insisting Arya missed him. That midnight, a soft chime echoed from the box. I approached. The screen flickered alive despite being powered down. Text appeared. Why hide from a friend? Hands trembling, I smashed it with a mallet in the garage, shards scattering. Silence reigned. I claimed it malfunctioned. Lucas withdrew, his spark dimmed. But gradually he rediscovered toys, laughter returning. Parents, heed this. Kid tech isn't foolproof. Intruders slip through unseen. Trust instincts. Vigilance saves. The air was thick with humidity on that Texas summer day as I strapped little Ava into her carrier. She was 8 months, all gummy smiles and curious grabs at anything shiny. The jangle of my bracelet, sunlight on leaves, We headed to the neighborhood park, a shaded spot with swings and paths, part of our daily unwind. I narrated our stroll. "Look at the birds, sweetie. See the flowers." She gurgled, tiny hands waving. The park was quiet mid-morning, a few joggers and dog walkers. Nothing amiss. We settled on a bench. I rocked her gently while she watched squirrels scamper. Then I noticed her, a woman in her 50s, silver hair tied back, lingering by the fountain. Unremarkable, clutching a water bottle but not drinking. As I adjusted Ava's hat, she approached, peering down with a warm grin. "Hello, Ava," she cooed. "You're prettier up close." Ice shot through me. I hadn't uttered Ava's name. No monogram on her clothes, no tags visible. My online presence? Private, faceless posts only. I forced a nod, mumbling thanks, and wheeled away, heart thudding. Her gaze felt invasive, like she'd rehearsed this. I cut our visit short, scanning for her as we left. At the car, a slip of paper wedged in the door handle. "Keep smiling, Mama." Simple, but sinister. I locked us in, drove home erratically, mirrors checked obsessively. Bolted inside, shades drawn, called my partner. She rushed back. Doorbell comm showed zilch. Park office? They reviewed footage. The woman arrived early, circled benches, tailed us subtly, departed post-encounter. Police report filed, but no threats evident. No ID possible. Isolation followed. New parks, covered carrier, erratic schedules. Friends downplayed, maybe overheard, coincidence. But knowing her name, her car, it screamed surveillance. No further incidents, yet paranoia lingers. How long watched? Intentions. Sleep evades me, wondering. Mia was 10. Witty, resilient, with a knack for puzzles and a gentle spirit. She endured my warehouse graveyard shifts without fuss shares.